Welcome in, everyone. Josh Cook alongside Cameron Brock here on your HoustonNews.com talking UIL Realignment, now 5A schools, as we count down the days to realignment being announced on Monday. And it seems like 5A is the one, according to the experts, that it's going to be kind of a jumble, maybe a bit of a mess. I don't know. The way it's looking right now, it looks like they just kind of threw the names in a hat and started picking out names.
Looking at Matt Stepp's realignment projections, I've got to be clear here. It's a mess. A complete mess. Nacogdoches in a 10-team district with Houston schools? You've got 16 5A according to his projections as a 9-team district with a bunch of East Texas schools. Why not just make that one a 10-team district? Instead, he threw Nacogdoches into a 10-team district with Waller, which is a 3-hour drive to and a 3-hour drive from Waller in Nacogdoches. In that same district, he's got Magnolia ISD, which is 2 schools, Tomball ISD, which is 2 schools, Splendora, I guess trying to give them a 59 rival, yeah. Willis, Huntsville, and I think I'm missing a school, actually, but it's a 10-team district. Actually, no, I named them. Nacogdoches, Huntsville, Willis, Splendora, Magnolia, Magnolia West, Tomball, Tomball Memorial, and Waller. Makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what is projected for this district, it's a complete shakeup. So, first off, what this district used to look like, it had Brenham in it, it had Springwoods, and had Stratford in it. Those are 3 teams that it's going to lose. Brenham's going to projected to move up to what would be 17 5A with Temple, Waco University, Bryan, College Station, A&M, Consolidated, College Station, Bryan, Rudder. And granted, for Brenham, that's a good move because geographically that works.
I mean, a lot of Blinn students go to Texas A&M, yeah. So perfect sense.
But then let's flip back to what is projected by Matt Stepp to be the new 19 5A. So you got Tomball, Tomball Memorial, Magnolia West. That makes complete sense. Those schools, 2 years ago when realignment happened, they weren't all together, and that was a great move to bring them all together because those schools have natural rivalries, they have natural lines, and great athletics out there between those 4 schools. And I'm very glad to see those 4 stay together in the same district. Splendora moves up from 10-4A. They were above the cut line by like 7 students, so they're going to be one of the smaller 5A schools. So it's going to be a big step up for Splendora, but they are making these steps. They just got approved for big upgrades to their football facility. They're going to be adding turf fields. They're going to be adding seating to the home side and the visiting side, new concession stands. So they're making the steps to become a 5A school the way they need to be with the facilities. Willis and Huntsville come over from the old 18-5A, and then, of course, the big one is Nacogdoches coming over from 16-5A. And as you mentioned, the travel, you know, from Splendora to Magnolia is 40 miles. It's about an hour-long drive. From Magnolia to Nacogdoches, it's 148 miles, about a 2.5-hour drive. And for Splendora, it's an hour and about 45-minute drive. And you have to understand, that's not only for football, that's also for volleyball on Tuesday nights and basketball on Tuesday nights. And so, I mean, these players aren't getting home till after midnight. And I think that's a big factor that if this happens, it's going to affect a lot of things.
And you actually have to take your students out of class to make that travel. A 3-hour drive to Waller from Nacogdoches. Ridiculous in my opinion. And you got this district over here. You could keep Nacogdoches on 59, and with less than, I believe, a 2-hour drive, the furthest opponent would be Barbers Hill if you put them in this district. Crosby, Dayton, Barbers Hill, Caney Creek, New Caney Porter, Kingwood Park, and Humble. That's the 21-5A according to Matt Stepp. In fact, if you were to ask me on my opinion about this, take Splendora and Nacogdoches, put them in this district, and trade out Caney Creek. I know Caney Creek's just down the road from Porter, but believe me when I say a Conroe school fits well with a Willis and a Huntsville, and also being that they're in Montgomery County, it fits well with Magnolia too.
And moving over to 21-5A, You know, you mentioned Crosby's going to be in there. They're a perennial power that's starting to pick up in all their sports, with football going undefeated in district last year and making a big run to the playoffs the year before that. You know, Dayton's not a bad team. Barbers Hill, you know, they just got a new head football coach over there named Tom Westerberg, and if anybody knows Texas high school football, they know he's got a couple state championship rings on his right hand right now from Allen.
more than a couple. I believe it's 3 straight, and his first one came in 2008. Had a huge stadium up there, of course. Everyone knows about the little foundation repair that it needed. But he also had a guy named Kyler Murray to produce some of those. Still has yet to beat Todd Dodge, though.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then, as you mentioned, Caney Creek is the one school that they've talked about adding possibly over there. Galena Park would be gone. C. King, of course, goes up to 6A. New Caney Porter, they got a new head football coach, Jim Hawley, who retired from Kingwood Park, spent a year away from coaching, got the itch to get back into coaching, and decided to go to Porter to try to start turning that program around there. And they've got Kingwood Park and Humble. And so, I mean, I think you know, 21-5A is going to be what's projected to be. I think that's going to be a competitive district once again in all sports. It has been for the past 2 years. I think it's going to continue being that way. But to your point, I agree. I think Nacogdoches is, if they put it with Magnolia, Mag West, those schools, I think that's the wrong place to put them.
But here's another thing that you can do. You know, you got Barbers Hill down there, or you could do Crosby with this. A 17-22-5A district. UIL likes to keep things even, okay? You, if you're either have a 9 team, and you could actually knock this down to 18. My projection on this, you can knock down to 8 teams. If you put Nacogdoches in there, and you put Splendora in there, take out Caney Creek, throw it to 19-5A, and you put Barbers Hill or Crosby into 22-5A, then you've got 2 8-team districts in the bi-district round facing each other. Works out perfectly. And the same thing goes for 19-5A. You got an 18 district right there as well if you take Caney Creek over there and send out Nacogdoches and Splendora, and you know, then you got a bi-district matchup with the Houston ISD schools, which is another 18 district. Makes a lot of sense in my opinion.
All right, so, and I agree with you. I think that makes quite a bit of sense. And so my kind of final question to you is, when Monday rolls around at 9 a.m., what 5A district are you going to be flipping to first? I mean, it's got to be 19-5A if that's what it's going to be, and it's got to see where Nacogdoches lands, right?
I'm going to look at 16-5A first. I'm going to see if they really left out I think that would be a great 10-team Beast Texas. We all know about the Beast Texas. It's a real big deal for those East Texas schools. Just make them a 10-team district. I think they really truly want that. Great for rivalries.
Yeah, exactly. So we will find out Monday morning at 9 a.m. Of course, Cameron and I will be on site at one of the region sites here in Houston with a ton of coaches that will find out at 9 a.m. just like all of us will on what the realignment will be. But until then, you can check out yourhoustonnews.com. Check out Cameron's recent article on All Eyes on UIL Realignment. Great piece on just breaking down what realignment might look like on Monday. And just chime at us on Twitter as well and let us know what you think, what it's going to look like come Monday morning. And then Monday morning, we will all know what the new realignments will look like for the next 2 years. So for Cameron Brock, I'm Josh Cook, and you can watch us on yourhoustonnews.com.